Tumba McKendy, the host for today. Today's topic is Supernatural is Natural. And I'm also the owner of Love Savvy Jewel LLC book series. And as you know, it also has a clothing line, which is this lovely dress I'm wearing. That's one of our pieces, signature pieces. So today, we're going to be talking about Supernatural is Natural. I'm going to start off with me. I have two lovely guests, fantastic poets, Shasha Martin and Rewap. Okay, they are from the Westmore. They are part of they're members of the Westmore Poets. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with me. I thought it'd be fair if I start off with a story of my own. Okay. All right, so this is kind of a story that's very close to me, and it is kind of difficult or challenging for me to tell you this because I've been keeping this to myself just because it's a kind of it's no longer a touchy subject, but it is something challenging that I went through. Okay, so the year or around the time that I published my first book, that would be in 2022. I was having these dizzy spells, so they would be. I would feel energy coming from my. It felt like it was my stomach, but it was like in the solar plexus area. I'm sure most of you know that solar plexus. That's where all your power comes from. That's where. That's why you see people when they do exercise. They always tell you to, or trainers always tell you to do it from your core. Your core is usually at the bottom. In the solar plexus area. So that's where all your power comes from. So it would, the energy would travel. Right, I would feel it here, I would feel nausea, and I would feel it here, it would feel strange, and I would feel it in my heart, like it would be traveling up to my brain. And then I would get dizzy, lose my memory, my immediate memory, like I couldn't remember how to form words, and so it turns out I was losing my brain function each time that happened at that level. I mean, there was smaller, I would say, minimal levels of it happening on a regular basis, on day-to-day basis, but the bigger episodes, I would lose my brain function. So that's what they were telling me when I went to the doctor to see what was going on, because I was feeling like I was going to faint or something. And so they said I was losing some of my brain function each time those big episodes happened. So, and I was telling them it was coming from the bottom and traveling upward and hitting my brain. And they were telling me that's impossible. Physically impossible, because there are two different systems, the nervous system and the digestive system are two different systems, so it's medically impossible. And so it was also affecting my thyroid, right? So they tested me, trying to figure out what was going on. It was affecting my thyroid, and so they just concluded that most likely it's your thyroid. And then when I took the tea for my thyroid, they were trying to prescribe this medicine, and I was like, I found this natural tea, the goddess tea. Oh, thank you, goddess. So, and it made my thyroid perfect. Everything was perfect. In the testing, so they figured it wasn't my thyroid, but it couldn't explain what it was. In the meantime, because my thyroid was better, I was getting the episodes were shorter, and they weren't to high level of extent. So I was still able to work, and they weren't as dramatic as before, because my thyroid was able to handle it, kind of send out the hormones where they needed to go, and I was functioning better. Now, so from time to time, after my thyroid was better and I was functioning better, but there's time to time I would still feel like there was something that's making me a little dizzy, while I'm working, or just, the same symptoms. But so I was like, well, I'm not going to stay like this forever with these symptoms. And so I, after a year of testing and going into the second year, which was this year, I decided to contact a Reiki practitioner. And I was like, why didn't I think of that before? Because they were saying it's not medical, and I also had a hint that it wasn't medical, because it was going through the 7 chakra paths, right, from solar plexus to heart chakra all the way to the crown chakra. So if it's not medical, it's definitely I kind of had a hunch that it was most likely a spiritual thing that was happening. And so I contacted a Reiki practitioner, and he said, yes, it is an awakening. I was having another spiritual awakening. I already had my spiritual awakening. First time it just continues, and you keep awakening, because there's so much more. So, God is endless, and the spirit realm is endless. And so you keep awakening to whatever you can take, information you can take about the spirit realm and what's going on in the physical realm. So the Reiki practitioner, he scanned my body through Zoom, mind you. He scanned my body. He's like, yeah, you're having another spiritual awakening, and there's a whole lot of energy going on in your solar plexus, right? A whole lot of activity, right? And it's traveling upward. And so he said that, and also I see a gentleman, and I was like, oh well, I know I might have a twin flame. And he said, yeah. He said your twin flame is hanging his energies at the back of your neck and your torso, right? At your torso. And he said, this twin flame loves my energy, and that's why he's in there, like in the torso. And it's interesting. I was really shocked that he said that, because I like it when a guy holds the back of my neck. I know it's weird. While we're walking, he's just like holding the back of my neck. Or I like how you walk in front of the guy and he's walking in the back of you, but holding your waist, And so it's interesting that he said that. And that's my little fantasy. Anyway. All right. And so he said that that is what's also weighing me down. That's also what's causing my body to malfunction. And he said he saw my little brother. He said, I see a younger gentleman, and he is on your kidney. His energy is sitting in your kidney, and at first he said, are you having some kind of, are you aware of any kidney problem? I said, no, I don't have a kidney problem. He said, well, there's a younger gentleman, and he is sitting in your energy, but he's in your kidney. And so that is interesting. That he saw my brother before I even mentioned I had a brother, my younger brother, and then he asked me if my brother was going through something around that time, and my brother was going through something, and he said yes. So his energy is in your kidney. And he said if it stays that way any longer, you're going to start having kidney problems. And then he said, oh, I see another gentleman. I was like, oh, that must be my nephew. Oh, Lord. He said, you have a lot of people in your energy. A lot of people in your energy, right? So, making long story short, he said, I could clear your energy and I could move, I guess, he said something to the matter that he could move the energy that's stuck in my solar plexus so that it could travel out, keep traveling out. And so, after he finished scanning, he's like, okay, so that's what I'm going to do now. So he moved away from the camera and was like under there, and every time he came up, it was like, when someone just dunks their head in water and they come out, that's how he was coming up, like, and so I guess he was avoiding me seeing that, so he was away from the camera, from the Zoom. And so then he said, before he did all that, he asked me if I wanted to clear everything out. And I'm thinking, yeah, but what if I never beat my twin flame? Because you cleared about my sister. and then I was like, but I don't want him to be there at the cost of my health. So, and then so I had to make that choice. But I had to choose these. So he cleared them out of my energy, and then he said, so now your twin flame will be able to interact with you from a healthier standpoint, from a healthier boundary. I was like, oh, okay, I get it. And so he was like, so I forgot how we got to the point where I was just like, well, I think I was with him in the past, my past life, because y'all know I did the YouTube past life meditation. So I think I was with him from my past life, and we were king and queen. So I'm telling this to the practitioner. I said, he was a king, I was his queen. And then the practitioner was like, yeah. And I was like, we were in Egypt. And the practitioner was like, yeah, you guys were in Egypt, but he stopped you from being trafficked. He saved you from being trafficked. And I was like, wait a minute. So you mean to tell me he was a king only to me? I done put it all over YouTube that I was a queen. I was an Egyptian queen. What? So he said, yes, he was a king only to you. And then he was like, because we're from different classes, we weren't supposed to be together. But he saved me from being trafficked. There was something going on in Egypt then, and there were, I guess particular areas and particular classes were being trafficked, and he saved me from that. So then I was like, yeah, and I also saw that we were in, from the meditation. I'm speaking from the meditation. You see visions. So I also saw that we were in Greece. We reincarnated from Egypt to Greece. And then he was like, oh yeah. And I was like, yeah. And he got shot. And he passed. And then the practitioner was like, yes, you were in Greece. He did get shot. And then he said he took a bullet for you. But I was like, yeah. And he was like, but you couldn't do anything about it. I was like, yeah, I couldn't do anything about it. I was trying to help him. Like, I feel like I was trying, like, it's a feeling, it's a feeling. Like, I was trying to help him, and then I was kind of living with the guilt in this lifetime. Like, I didn't do enough or something. And then he was like, there's nothing to feel guilty about. It was a soul choice. He chose to save you and to take the bullet for you. So that was in Greece. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then he was like, you were recently together again in another lifetime. I was like, what? I was like, in this lifetime? And he was like, no, it wasn't in this lifetime. But you were in New Orleans. I was like, get the mother! What? Because that's why I love movies like Eve's Bayou, Jason's Lyric, because I always feel like I want to go to New Orleans and visit. And ding, 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 ding. He said you have an energetic past in New Orleans. And he was trying to, each time he tried to make it to you, you'd leave, or he would just miss you. He would just miss you because he was following you around. And when he went to New Orleans, like each time, I guess all this happened in New Orleans. Like each time he tried to catch me from where I was, follow me where I was, and try to catch me, he would just be missing me. And the practitioner said that lifetime, it was his soul lesson to stop saving. And the practitioner said that I went through a lot during the time in New Orleans, but that's what made me who I am today. Okay, and yes, I coined myself to being a strong woman. Yes, I do, and an amazing woman. So that was a fascinating experience. I feel a lot better. I don't have this thing going, but I do feel it, but it doesn't, hit me the way it used to. I feel a little nauseous sometimes, but not the way I used to. So I'm not as dizzy as I used to be. He did say it's going to fade out. The dizziness is going to fade out. And yeah. So I also have to say that this energy that was coming through is I let more in than my body can take. Because when I do meditation, I have a lot of high frequency energy coming through my body, and there are several people like me as well, because we are here so that the average person doesn't get shocked from the high frequency energy. So we're like a buffer. We take in more than other people. The modern name is light worker, but we are the same people in the Bible, the 144,000 in the Bible.